Good evening, people. Happy brew year. Hope you're having a good 2025 so far. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters? Great to be back after a little bit of a break through the new year. You're all very welcome to the Brews at 10 here on my left eye tonight. Great to see you. And we've got Floor Snake, Andy Carter, Chris, Morbius in the house already. How's the year going so far? At the risk of doing an overused joke, I haven't seen any of you since last year. Becca, great to see you too. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Welcome back. Happy brew year. Yeah, I did see a few of you briefly though, earlier on during the premiere of the latest video. All about Elon Musk, who's going to get a dunking on in the stream tonight. Mostly based around dunking on Musk and the Labour Party. Pretty much. So a bit more about that. The video just sort of skimmed through some of the latest stuff. There's been more since that came out. We're only 2 days in. And Musk's, well, he's giving me more content than I can keep up with. It's all sort of intermingled with other stories. Yeah, since I put the video out, he's had a bit of a dig at UK politics. Talking a bit more about that. And speaking of UK politics, it's a triple whammy in the polls for Labour, who, as I said, are going to be getting a bit of a dunking on tonight as well. Not a great start to the year for Keith or Musk. Thought he was getting off to a good one with this sort of social media cryptocurrency stunts that I mentioned in the video. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that. You know, stock market manipulation, insider trading, this sort of thing. And I can foresee a lot more of this coming in 2025, people. I really can. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be short on content where Musk or his accomplice and now associates, I guess, Trump, are concerned. He's going to be sworn in within days. My goodness, it's getting increasingly dystopian, isn't it? But we'll try and get through it, you know. We'll do our best. Bob Nakariza, great to see you as well. Happy brew year to you too. Also on the stream, just a bit about latest reports. The projection for energy prices and bills as well. You won't be surprised to know that they're going to be at a record high. It's record highs and record lows all over the place every time, isn't it? And that's going to be coming up in those aforementioned polls as well, including Keith's latest personal polling as well, favourability rating as it were. Not looking great for him, or in fact Labour overall, but what people might be looking to as an alternative is particularly worrying at this moment in history, as it were. Alright, before we get onto all that, of course, a mega huge thank you, as always, to all of the members on the stream, and almost in perfect synchronicity there, Morbius, thank you very much for gifting the one gifted membership. Thanks for the support there. That's an excellent cue for me to bring up. That's the preferred way of supporting the channel. There's lots of benefits, of course, including adding your name to this roster of superb members of the Brew crew. So thanks again for that, and to Chris, thank you very much, brother. Another gifted membership there. Solidari-Tea to you and Morbius, thank you very much. So they are just 99 pence. Not even near the price of a tasty hot beverage from your local barista. And there's lots of other perks to enjoy as well, so please do also make sure you can hit the thumbs up button. That's at no cost whatsoever, of course. If you're not subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button, and you can join others in the chat as well. And speaking of chats, I see Andy Carter also showing solidarity with the gifted membership. Thank you very much for that, brother. Please do give us a share around your social media as well. We're available on Twitter, Mastodon and Blue Sky. Same logo, just look out for the red and black eye symbol with a raised Solidarity fist in the pupil. So we do have a couple of alternatives to Twitter. I know I do dunk on Musk as well, pinch of irony in there, but should the whole thing come crashing down, at least we're available in other areas. There was a Channel 4 report tonight actually about the mass exodus toward Blue Sky from Twitter. And Super Tiny, thanks also for the gifted membership. Great stuff. Yeah, so that pretty much the exodus, that is, began when Musk increasingly started to associate himself with Trump, and then after the election, which he put a substantial amount of money towards Trump's campaign for, it should be said, after the results, people feared the worst. Well, it's been obvious to myself, and I'm sure lots of you watching this evening, as well as other YouTubers and whatnot, that Musk has been right-leaning, I would say, for some considerable time, but he's always been that way. And if there was any further proof required, surely now the veil has fully been lifted. And another gifted membership from Morbius, thank you very much indeed. Superb stuff, Solidarity. Jojo, welcome to the chat also. Mithril, wonderful to have you back. It is excrement. Yeah. I do avoid using the revised name of the website. If you type in twitter.com, it still comes up. It does redirect you, but there you go. Always Twitter, never X. But it's always excrement where Musk's concerned. Great stuff, nice one. Hetty, great to see you in the chat as well. Happy brew year to you. And Lumpy. Now then, just another moment, we'll get into the latest from these stories. There's a bit to get at. These two main stories obviously sort of overlap one another throughout the last day or two, with the awful attack in New Orleans and the incident with the Cybertruck, respectively. Now, yeah, just a quick update. In the vid, the Musk vid that is, that came out earlier today, the suspect had been named in the New Orleans attack. There was speculation about the identity of the Las Vegas attacker. Since then, there have been investigations into whether the two incidents might be linked, but it appears now that the Las Vegas suspect has been confirmed. So if you saw the vid, you might remember that they're also, this is also another bizarre connection between these two attacks, is that they're both from former United States veterans, that is military veterans. Although, of course, in typical far-right style, including from Musk, I believe there was speculation when the New Orleans attack became a breaking news story. They did their best to try and spread misinformation, false information. And these are the same people who shout fake news at anything they don't like, by the way, just to remind you about that point of the way that they do things. But they speculated and insinuated that the vehicle used had only just come across from the Mexican border and that it was an immigrant that had carried out these attacks. They said it came over the border 2 days prior to what happened in New Orleans. But of course it transpires that it was a US citizen. The truck was rented weeks and weeks ago from within. It came across the border weeks and weeks ago. These sort of things were immediately debunked. But when you have people like Elon Musk, who's got, what, over 100 million followers on Twitter, throwing that kind of thing around, then it's pretty dangerous stuff. And yeah, as an individual, he is pretty dangerous. I don't mind saying that. I think we're going to see further evidence of that as we go into 2025. So anyway, this is the latest. Just a few details about both of these incidents, which of course comes in the run-up to the Super Bowl, the early parts of this report. Just talk about that. There was one of the games in the run-up to that tonight, but this is something I just want to concentrate on now. This thing with the both being US Army veterans, this happening on the same day. This also happened, although I'm not sure if there's as much of a connection between this as there are these two incidents, but the thing with Musk's stock market push by changing his name on Twitter to make an association with a form of cryptocurrency, and that gave that a massive bounce on the stock market. And then later on in the day, this all came out about the explosion outside of a Trump hotel, of course. So the man who was suspected to be the attacker, Alan Livelsberger, it says has decades of experience in the military. He served in the active duty army from January 2006 to March 2011. Before he joined the National Guard, he joined the Army Reserve from July 2012 to December 2012. and was later a US Army Special Operations soldier, which is an elite unit commonly known as the Green Berets. During his service he received many awards, including 4 prestigious Bronze Stars, one of which the US Army said was with Valour, which are given for displays of heroism in combat. The Army Special Operations Command said he was on approved leave from his unit based in the German city of Stuttgart at the time of his death. The FBI confirmed earlier today that there's no objective link between the Cybertruck explosion and the New Orleans attack. If that is the case, then you've got to say, people, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, they're thems, that it has to be an absolutely astonishing coincidence that these two things have happened almost at the same time, independent of one another. And the fact that they're both US military veterans. I'm not getting the tin hat out at this point. I do just like to, you know, keep my left eye on things that seem to be too much of a coincidence, or perhaps aren't as the official narrative goes, as it were. So that's a picture. Didn't manage to include a picture during the video. Whoops, there we go. Got it back. Matthew Allen Livelsberger. I did release the vid just shortly before the picture was released. Great timing there, Lefty. Nice one. The alt-left tease. Very good, super. And this is the New Orleans attacker, Shamsuddin Jabbar, 42, an Army veteran and US citizen born in Texas, despite what the alt-right, the far-right, the neo-fascists on social media were saying yesterday. He is a US-born citizen from Texas. According to a now-removed LinkedIn profile, he worked in various roles, including in human resources and IT, before he was discharged. He was deployed to Afghanistan from February 2009 to January 2010. He studied at Georgia State University from 2015 to 2017, graduating with a degree in computer information systems. Accountancy firm Deloitte confirmed that Jabbar was hired by the company in 2021, married 3 times and has children from 2 relationships. Court records relating to Jabbar's most recent divorce point to financial problems. He disclosed more than $40,000 in credit card debt and said the real estate company he founded was losing money. So of course, for the record, both these respective attackers are now deceased. It did take some time to identify the Cybertruck attacker on account of the scale of the fire. And with the New Orleans attack, there were exchanges of shots with the police on the scene, where he was killed as well. So look at, I mean, this as well. This as well. Just one moment. Excuse me. There we go. I mean, this gets increasingly coincidental, doesn't it? They both served at the same military bases. Mithril, because it's the holiday period and the military has a higher than average divorce rate. If people feeling bitter or badly done, they may feel this was the time to act. Yeah, good point. That is actually true about the divorce rates in the military. Obviously, a lot of people who serve in the military suffer from PTSD, this kind of thing. That's a factor as well. So, even in this report, it says there's several commonalities. I guess that's the new word for similarities between the Las Vegas driver and the New Orleans suspect, though there's still no indication yet that they knew each other. They both rented cars through the same rental service as well. They were stationed at Fort Bragg, which is in North Carolina, but they were not in the same unit, and they were both deployed in Afghanistan at the same time, but not necessarily in the same unit. Well, I don't know what the chances of that are, but yeah, I dare say there's going to be more revelations of commonalities to come, and this is, you know, crazy. But just concentrating, getting back to the Musk factor in all of this. Yeah, these Cybertrucks, excuse me, they do have a reputation for electrical problems, spontaneous fires, this kind of thing. The same with other Tesla models as well, of course. But obviously, given the location of the attack right outside the Trump Tower, when the report first came out, you know, it was easy to think, oh, it's just another Cybertruck that's gone on fire. The village idiot has been parading around and off they go. So there's definitely symbology with this, given the associations, and it's actually quite symbolic in the sense, you know, almost, not that I'm condoning violent attacks or anything, but almost poetic in the way that, you know, the image of the burnt out Cybertruck in front of a Trump hotel is perhaps somewhat of a visual metaphor or allegory for 2025, or will become one. Who knows? Yeah, and there was speculation as well that Jabbar had acted with others. There were other explosive devices found around New Orleans in cooler boxes, I believe. But they've now established they believe he acted alone. But as this points out, it's only been 24 hours and the investigation is still ongoing, so we'll have to see what happens. Nor should we ourselves rush to judgment. Yes, that's the latest on that. These reports are a few hours old now. And of course, it's claimed that there was paraphernalia linked to Islamic State in the New Orleans vehicle. Now that also brings up the issue of Syria, as I pointed out in the video. You know, in a bizarre twist, a bizarre irony, as we've said a few times on previous streams, the US now backing Islamic State, which used to be the bogeyman, but now they're the good bad guys because they say so. The good old US of states. Now, almost a little bit of history repeating, obviously with the Mudder Gene way back in the 80s being deployed to fight the Soviets, and then later on, after being backed by the United States, going on to attack them, and a little bit of history repeating with that. And of course they're also backed up by Israel, as they recently overthrew Assad's regime in Syria. So Trump's going to have a hard time defending Islamic State or defending what's happened in Syria now that this has happened, and so is Elon Musk, to be frank. Now, there are still only a few minor hints at motive where the Las Vegas attacks concerned, I think. But as Andy Carter points out there, yeah, still a lot of uncertainty. And Flowsnake, some people already calling it the image of the year. Well, it certainly is. Let's just take a look again at that footage. That boy, it's the alternative view from what's been going around the mainstream media, just a bit more of a insight as to the scale of the explosion. I'll get you quality alternative content, alright, here on the Brews at 10 on My Left Eye. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and share across your social media, people, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. So, this is it again. It was packed to the bollocks with incendiaries as well, these firework mortar things. Well, you can see them going off there. Jesus Christ. Fortunately, other than the driver, of course, there were no fatalities. There were only 7 people with minor injuries, although Musk even failed to make mention of them in his tweets, his immediate tweet after this happened. And what did he do? He tried to go on about how it shows the solidity of the Cybertruck and what a good investment of a vehicle it is, and how resistant it was to the explosion, and so on and so forth. Almost, you know, you can almost picture him in a promotion video walking up to the charred remains and doing the old, you know, bang on the side of it. This baby, I'll, you know, see you through as many explosions as you need, even if it doesn't set itself on fire spontaneously in the first place, or break down at will in other fashions. Yeah, you wouldn't put it past him. So yeah, no mention of, you know, he didn't say anything about, oh, this terrible incident. My thoughts are with the 7 people who were injured. He just went straight into salesman mode. It is, of course, struggling as a product because it's absolutely bloody awful. It's just a monstrosity of a vehicle as a concept, not only in the way it looks, the way it fails to operate. If you want to know more about that on a granular level, I can recommend channels like Thunderfoot, who's a wonderful roaster of Musk and his tech Ponzi scheme, as it were. The Cavernicle as well is another one, but they'll tell you how, you know, the panels are all misaligned on these things and it can't do the things that were promised. It's just like a atypical Elon Musk product. He's all hype, but he never comes through. He doesn't deliver. And it's all botched and well, I won't go into it anyway. You know, they're just shite. They're just shite. Please don't buy one. Don't buy any Tesla. Don't invest whatsoever if you can avoid it. Because I mean, there's people who still put £250,000 deposits on one of his cars years and years ago, and it's still nowhere near development. And he was promising back in 2016, I think, that it was going to come out the following year. As well as the absolute failure of the development of self-driving tech and all the rest of it. Oh, could go on, could go on. So yeah, do check out Thunderfoot and the Cavernical. Am I saying that right? Cavernical. There are others, of course. They're just a couple of my favourites where dunking on Musk is concerned. Used to make anti-feminist videos, but he seems to have changed track. I didn't know that. It just came across my desk amongst all the other anti-Musk stuff a few years ago. Been following him for a while now. He's a great excuse me. He's a great engineer, of course, as well, and he does go into especially the SpaceX program and the shortcomings of that, as well as you know, Tesla vehicles, the Hyperloop, all of these other ridiculous Ponzi hype concepts that he comes up with. Musk, that is, not Thunderfoot. Afterglow 1010, or 1010 if you prefer. It does look like Homer Simpson's motor. That's the one where he had to design one for his stepbrother, half-brother or something, and yeah, it completely ruined the company. But sorry, and it was probably because we were talking about Thunderfoot there as well. He uses the footage a lot when they were doing the sort of reveal thing for it, and it was the like, you want to see how tough these windows are? Yeah, nuclear blast proof shit. And then the crowd goes wild, and it's like, here's, you know, here's a baseball. I want you to throw it as hard as you can at that bastard window, and I'll tell you what, it's not even going to make a dent. And then it just goes straight fucking through. It just goes straight through. Just goes straight through. And then he thought, oh, well, that must have just been a dud, one off the line, let's try another window, and then the same thing happened again. But then they sort of redid the launch, and obviously he was totally left with his pants around his ankles during the first launch. Musk was. And then at the second one they sort of tried to do it again, but they gave him a softball, or essentially a sponge, and got him to repeat the stunt, and it just bounced off, and then Musk tried to woo the crowd into a frenzy. Oh my goodness. Like, who can still have faith in this? Like, how gullible do you have to be to not only believe in him and what he says, but to go so far as to financially put your money on the line, you know? Uncle Herb, that's the Simpsons one. That's right, Andy. Thanks for that. Floor Snake, it looks like the car you designed when you were a kid, before your dad pointed out that sharp edges increase drag. True. Don't get me started on the batteries. I mean, that's the reason why the fire lasted 90 minutes in the first place, the one outside Trump's Hotel in Vegas. An hour and a half to put it out. Wow. Cavernical, yeah, that's the other one. Red F, welcome to the chat as well. Just having a quick skim through, checking out the comments. More like the winner of the 11 plus design competition in Bury, Blackburn and Bolton. Oh. Oh, great stuff. Right, I'm going to attempt to make a fantastic, seamless segue now from Elon Musk into the next topic. As I said, after I'd released the video, something else has come up on social media. He's actually had a dig at Jess Phillips, who, of course, I'm no fan of. That's Jess, stab you in the front. Laugh at a bad election result. Phillips, who represents the constituency of Birmingham Yardley here in the UK. Now, this is all over the far right, trying to harp on about grooming gangs and whatnot, and immigration and false association between the two. Also, only choosing to acknowledge groomers that are either foreign or brown, without acknowledging the fact that the majority of cases do happen to be perpetrated by white people. So anyway, they're saying because of her inaction, she should be removed from her seats immediately, and then another general election be held. This is coming from someone who is, of course, unelected himself, Elon Musk, said to be putting tens of millions of pounds into the Reform Party to back up the likes of Farage and Tice. But, as I said, I'm no fan of Phillips myself, but how dare he try and say what we should or shouldn't be doing democratically? Davinia, Robbins, thanks for joining us. Hope you had a nice nap there. Also, me throw what we've got. The thing about Trump wanting to buy Greenland, yeah, he's going to be making another go for that as well. There are huge deposits of rare earth minerals there. The Danish government respected the indigenous people and wouldn't mine it. Yeah, that's true. They didn't want any part of that. He's probably going to make a go for it as well. It's also, you know, it could all just be hyperbole, but he's also apparently made mention of wanting to purchase Canada as well. These ridiculous things. Of course, they would view it as a strategic thing as well, militarily, where proximity to the Russian Federation's concerned. Yeah, so good point. We're going to be seeing more of that in 2025. Happy New Year, Davinia. Happy Brew Year. Thanks a lot for that, Nithro. Excellent point. So where was I? Yes, Jess Phillips. Let's have a look at what's going on here. I'll see if I can just dig out the tweet. If you just bear with me one moment. Get the old Twitter. Always Twitter, never X. I think I should be able to quickly find it, or some repost of it. He had changed his name to Kekius Maximus, hadn't he? Jesus Christ. Might as well just stamp, yes, I'm definitely far right on his forehead, and I've done with it, instead of all these ridiculous little, what he thinks are riddles and hints, being the world's oldest teenager. It's not exactly cryptic, is it? You know, when he's using blatant memes that have been adopted by far-right groups. It's gone back to normal, his name now. Well, let's see. But then, this is where the amazing segue comes in, people. This will bring us into the trio of polls which have been revealed in the last 24 hours, which look particularly foreboding for Jess Phillips and Labour in general. Seamless segues, alright. Let's see what we can find. See if we can find the... There's so much crap on here. He says he's so busy, you know, with his tech and his... his Cybertrucks and his cars and his SpaceX and his Hyperloops and his this and his that. He's posting friggin' 30 times a day, at least. Oh, look at that. Tesla Cybertruck voted worst vehicle by National Association of Terrorist Car Bombers. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it probably also gets voted worst vehicle by actual car award ceremonies. There must be something here amongst all this free Yaxley Lenin crap, which is also obviously another massive telling sign and indicator, a red flag about his far right position. I mean, he is a fascist. Right, how old are these posts now? I should have bookmarked it. He's retweeting J.K. Rowling. Oh, here we go. Right, this'll do. I'm not going to scroll through and try and find an original tweet from him, but he's reposted one from J.K. Rowling, who reposted Tom Harris. Who the fuck is Tom Harris? Columnist at the Tory Graph. Right, okay, that's why I've not heard of him. He says, I've been thinking about Jess Phillips' argument that a national inquiry into grooming gangs will be exploited by the, quote, far right. She's right, also, that doesn't matter. The truth matters, only the truth matters, and if others want to exploit it, that's entirely incidental. So it's the same old. They're only going to focus on the crimes of immigrants as opposed to similar crimes that are being committed domestically by British citizens. Yeah, I'm not going to go through and try and find that post about calling for a re-election. I'll just show you though this latest poll from Birmingham Yardley. Now, the Workers' Party actually gave her a really good run for her money at the last general election, but according to this poll, with Labour down 7.2 points, that's Jess Phillips herself, bringing them down to 24%, the Workers' Party will be projected to take the seat. Unfortunately, again, Reform making a bit of a gain as well. This is the problem. As obvious as it's been that Labour under Starmer would just absolutely, crash and burn in a very short amount of time, which they have done. Where's the safety net? Where's the social safety net, as it were? Because at the moment, if anything, worryingly, it looks as though that what will be waiting in the wings would be the far right, as opposed to socialist parties, the Greens, Socialist Independents, grassroots parties. Since the election, it does appear that Reform are getting more of a boost than the Greens and Independents and grassroots parties, which is worrying. Because when the bottom falls out of Labour, which is obviously happening at the moment, as these 3 polls, including this one, you're about to see reveal, then that's going to be the alternative. You know, the Tories are done. Some people are still speculating that the Conservative Party as an institution could cease to exist in a very short amount of time, and there could be a sort of mass runaway towards reform. But the Workers' Party are obviously bucking that trend. That's great to see. I'd want to see more of this. So we'll have to see. We're only about 10% of the way through the minimum amount that Labour can be in for at the moment. There's still, you know, over 1,000 days to go. And that's a good point there, Hedy. The Workers' Party are a big party in terms of membership. It was, of course, the excuse me, the first time out at the last election. They came close, came second in other seats, as did the Greens. You know, let's focus on the positives. Reform came second in a lot of seats, but so did the Greens. We've got to keep up this unity. We've got to keep up this perseverance, that we just can't have any chance of the far right getting in whatsoever. And this is what neoliberalism has done over the decades. It's opened the door for the far right. We see this happen all the time. It's happened historically in the States and elsewhere now. I mean, some of us saw it coming. Unfortunately, large swathes of the public have sleptwalked, you know. So that's the first poll. I will, of course, keep my left eye on what's going on. Slight footnote, I am somewhat of a poll skeptic myself. I don't take them as gospel by any means. Some of them prove to be more accurate than others, but they're all we really have to go off in between voting. So that's the first one, and the second one is particularly interesting. Now, I don't know if you've seen what was going on in Broxtowe. This concerns a council seats, not constituency seats. But long story short, there were 26 members of the Labour Party sitting on Broxtowe Council. However, 20 of them had so much of Keir Starmer that they disbanded from Labour and formed the Broxtowe Independent Movement. So now they've actually become the largest party on the council, and you can see they're up 20, Labour are down 20, leaving just 6 remaining. Tories in second with 10, and then after them 5 more independents and 3 Lib Dems. So this follows quite a lengthy period of well, how can I put it? First of all, as has happened at both a local and national level, democracy has been ridden roughshod over by Starmer's Labour, as well as a dispute over a local community hub, which, through particularly nefarious and underhanded means, the regional Labour Party sought to shut down. Now, there was a bit of a statement put out from Broxtowe Council video, which I've got queued up here. I do have to give a shout out to Helena at More Justice, who shared this around social media earlier. So I'll play this through without interruption, because they'll best say it for themselves as to the reasons for giving Keir Starmer the finger. I do have to say, I'm particularly pleased with this. This is another way of how we can fight neoliberalism, how we can fight Starmer's Labour, and help to set up genuine socialist, independent groups and movements and parties. With, on a national level, the upcoming Independent Alliance featuring Jeremy Corbyn notwithstanding. Right, so this is the statement from Broxtowe Council. Just turn the music down.
I stand in front of you today to make the formal announcement that after 43 years I will be leaving the Labour Party, and I will not be going alone. So far, over 100 people have agreed to join our group, and somewhere in the order of around 20 councillors will also be leaving the Labour Party. This has been the accumulation of a number of years of mistreatment by the regional and national party, which has resulted in the blocking of our preferred candidate for parliamentary selection. And recently, because it seems that we voted against the government's proposals to withdraw the winter fuel allowance, that they've also now blocked 10 of our members from standing in the county council elections in May. And I want to say to everybody, these people that they have blocked are committed, they are dedicated, and they invest an awful lot of their time and effort in serving the borough of Broxtowe. They would make well-worthy candidates, people who you can rely on. They are trusted, they are dedicated, they are hard-working. I myself have been 43 years in the Labour Party. I was first elected in 1986, and this was my 39th year as a councillor, which I've served 22 years as leader of Broxtowe Borough Council and 8 years as leader of the opposition. And the hope over the previous 14 years of austerity and mismanagement of this country's finances and resources was an opportunity for a new beginning. The word was change. What we didn't realise that what they meant was change for the worse.
Well said, that man. Yeah, change him into the Tory party. That is, Becca, you're right, that's a proper Notts accent there. Well said. Well said and well done to those 20 members of Broxtowe Council. Solidari-Tea. Unified in giving the finger to Starmer. His Stormtroopers, the Neolib gang. Just quickly going back before I go, I did actually bookmark those posts by Elon Musk, but I won't go back, we'll move ever forward. Right, up next, how's the new year looking for Starmer's polling? They're obviously down in favourability in Birmingham, Yardley and Broxtowe, as you just saw then. But the third one, what about Keith himself? Just about got through in Holborn, St Pancras. in the last election. Of course, receiving far fewer votes than he did when he had the seat under Corbyn. What's his latest favourability rating? Now, the last time I brought this up, either in a video or a live stream, it was at a record low. And now he surely can't have outdone himself and reached new depths in terms of popularity and favourability, can he? This is another one from Stats for Lefties. Look at that, 66% unfavourable to 25% favourable. So a minus 41 overall, and you know, the words fall from my mouth once more. All-time low, record low. So now I dare say, rather than hope as it was in the run to the last general election, I could see Keith losing his seat at the next GE. I really could. Andrew Feinstein, of course, put up a fantastic campaign. Received a tremendous amount of votes. So I would have liked to have seen him win last time out. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if, obviously, the shadow Prime Minister would have lost the seat whilst the party would have prevailed for the first time in history. Look at that, look at that. But it's no surprise, it's no surprise. We said this was going to happen, you know. The only surprise has been how quick the downfall has come. You know, just half a year. Just gone quite quickly, if you think, you know, of all the stuff that's happened. A good shout, Becca, yeah. They should have stuck with Corbyn. They should never have stabbed him in the back or in the front in Jess Phillips's case, of course. He could have defied the odds, he could have defied the media as he almost did in 2017. If they'd have all gotten behind him. Some say Corbyn was perhaps a little too trusting in trying to unify the party by letting those that had previously sought to oust him back into prominent roles, Starmer included, but that's all history now. We know what happened there. With Starmer's immediate and sudden change in stance on a second referendum being particularly prominent as well. Morbius, thanks again for another gifted membership. Solidari-Tea. Oh, it's right. Sorry, I wonder what that was about then. Just having a bit of a chat about dogs. A Pomeranian. Yeah, thanks again for that, Morbius. Right, where were we? Yeah, so of course I made mention recently that Starmer's going to be delaying a lot of the local elections coming up. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. Probably doesn't want to take a drubbing, trying to dodge a few bullets there. And again, it's the, you know, it's the same tactics as the Tories. Where's democracy when they can pull strings and move the goalposts? We do, of course, remember Johnson's atrocious proroguement of Parliament when he was looking like he was going to lose a vote. That sort of thing. And we're seeing the same thing again. just in red rosettes. They're just the red Tories. And, well, this one. There could definitely be some correlation between that and this. So I don't know if you saw this earlier today. I'll read this out for you. Sorry, the print's a little bit blurred here. So he's on holiday in Madeira, is Keith, and he was queuing up for a toboggan ride. He likes a bit of tobogganing, does old Keith. And instead of queuing up, as all the other attendees at the park do, sometimes for as much as 3 hours, he decided to arrange pushing in, getting himself straight to the front of the queue, escorted there for the wicker sledge ride, and he's been booed en masse. So it says, Sir Keir Starmer has annoyed holidaymakers in Madeira after he skipped the queue at a toboggan ride during his winter break on the Portuguese island. The Prime Minister was escorted by security to the front of a 3-hour queue for the ride with his 16-year-old son and 13-year-old daughter. They were immediately shown to their seats on the ride. Apparently he's cited security reasons. I don't want to get captured by... I don't want to get taken sausages. Sorry, what? I don't want to get taken sausages. It's a security risk. Slight in-joke there. So yeah, he just went bop, straight to the front of the queue. Thank you very much. He had a lovely time on the toboggan. And then back to number 10. Wow. Wow. That is so Keith, is it not? Yeah, well said again, Becca. Need to get rid of Reeves, Starmer, Street and Kendall, and the list does go on. A reminder as well, Streeting is on notice, just a 500-seat majority, and it looks like he could be set to lose his seat, or it will be very close indeed at the next ballot. Scraping through, beating Liam Mohammed by just 1,000 votes. This is the health secretary we're talking about. Release the toboggan. Release the... God, Andy. It's funny actually, I don't know if any of you watched the, what was it? The Big Fat Quiz of the Year. You know, the annual Channel 4 thing. I was watching that the other night, and that came up. The release the sausages, and also it was all about awkward moments in speeches and stuff. And when Biden introduced Volodymyr Zelensky as President Putin. Yeah, nice one. Release the toboggan. Alright. So we'll see how he gets on when he gets back from his holidays in Portugal. But for now we're going to move on just a couple of other quick stories. Where to first? Yeah, just quick on this. Hope you all, of course, managed to avoid the storms if you were here in the UK over the last couple of days. Tremendous flooding, high winds, that kind of thing. Here in the northwest, whilst where I am, managed to mostly avoid flooding in a lot of the surrounding areas. It looked particularly grim. Just a couple of updates on that, about what's happened here in Greater Manchester, where my left eye is coming to you from this evening. So lots of people became trapped in their homes, unfortunately, without running water. Others were rescued from stranded cars. Places affected included Bolton, Didsbury, South Manchester, Harfrey, I should say, North Manchester, Stalybridge, Stockport and Wigan. And especially down in Stockport, that is down from my left eye's point of view. That is, that's some of the scenes there. It was particularly bad. You could see in other areas the water was coming right up, almost going over the top of bridges, and that canal there in Little Bollington in Cheshire broke its banks during the flooding. Worst hit areas also included Scotland, where there were 17 flood warnings, so hope that you managed to avoid all of that. Of course, certain events were cancelled. The Hogmanay, which is one of the highlights of Scottish celebration in the year. It's much more of a celebration than Christmas is, that's for sure. Unfortunately, it had to be cancelled. It did look at one point as though the one here in Manchester was going to be cancelled, although it was simply relocated. I myself didn't participate. I was at another thing. And there's snow forecast for the weekend. Obviously it's turned pretty cold tonight, we'll have to see. So we're going from one extreme to the other, and this is of course a result of climate change on a macro scale, and we'll increasingly see events like this, extreme weather, as part of that. Blackpool's firework display was cancelled because of expected high winds. Let us know in the chat if you were in any of the affected areas. Hope you weren't too badly affected. Okay. Davinia Robbins has been blooming cold today. Yeah, it's turning chilly up here as well, although it seems to be a little milder down in London. There is a bit of a north-south divide there, but we are of course all united in solidarity where the fight against climate change is concerned. For the record, on average, of course, just a reminder that 2024 was the hottest year on record, breaking the previous record set in 2023. Speaking of needing the heating on, more great news. Energy prices are rising, with warnings of more pain to come. The second increase in Ofgem's price cap this winter takes effect on Wednesday. That was yesterday, by the way. And means someone paying a direct debit and using a typical amount of gas will pay £1,738 per year. That's up by £21 a year than under the previous cap, so bill payers are being urged to submit a meter reading to avoid overpaying on estimated usage. Bills are 50% higher than pre-COVID levels, and we're not talking about ages ago, a generation ago. You know, it's less than half a decade since we came out of COVID, and prices have increased by 50%. And they're going to go up by a further 3% in April. Even more good news. So it's affecting 26 million households in England, Wales and Scotland. Prices jumped in 2022 when conflict between Russia and Ukraine broke out. That was a load of crap. Of course, we only got 4% of our natural gas from Russia prior to that, but obviously bills have increased by way more than 4%. That has all now come to an end. Russia's no longer supplying gas to any parts of Europe. That is because it had to flow through the Ukraine, so Zelensky put a stop to that. Actually, based on a typical household bill, that's what you're looking at. Up again and again. We could, of course, have bills that were 7 times lower with clean renewable energy. That would, unfortunately, I mean, please do get out your small violins and large box of tissues, people, but unfortunately, it's terrible. This is the worst part about it all. Some of the billionaires would have to not have as much money. That's it. I mean, can you imagine? Oh, goodness. Try to think. Try to even utter the words. No, Starmer doesn't want that. Even if we did fully transition over to renewables, he'd still want to, you know, have us over a barrel paying extortionate prices for that. When logic alone tells you that it would be much cheaper. It doesn't require anywhere near the amount of infrastructure to be able to supply it, and of course it comes for free. You don't have to extract or refine anything. It's a very simple transfer of energy. So where was I? Just a little more on this. Experts say more significant long-term options to lower bills include shopping around or reducing energy use when possible. Genius. Genius experts. Did you know that? A period of high prices means households have collectively built up a debt of $3.8 billion to suppliers. The average household is in arrears of more than £1,500 for electricity and £1,300 for gas. Wow. And that's it. That's why people are being forced to choose between heating and eating. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Use the billionaires for winter fuel. What a rip-off. What a jip. What a con. I was going to bring up a bit of an update on the Luigi Mangione case concerning his arrest. There have been a few things that have been brought to my attention lately. We did point out some inconsistencies without wanting to risk getting the tin hats on. Again, just a few inconsistencies between the incident when he was at large, his arrest, and so on and so forth. I think I'll save that for another time, either another stream or potentially put together a short video. However, I will say that things are looking increasingly suspicious. So that's going to be to come. I'm also working on some new features for going into 2025, so please do keep a lookout for those as well on the channel. For now, just a reminder, please make sure you've hit the thumbs up button on the stream, give us a share. Please do check out other content on the channel, including the latest video, if you do like dunking on Elon Musk, which we've done a fair bit of tonight on the channel, on the stream. That's a good point in the chat, just going back to the energy crisis as well as the climate crisis from Afterglow 1010. If Scotland left the UK, they would be in the top 4 richest countries in the world. And of course, there was a massive campaign to deter Scotland from leaving the Union in 2014, where they narrowly missed out on the chance by 52% to 48%. However, you're quite correct, these large reserves that they do have in Scotland were very much part of that, and that is part of the reason why England and the UK wants to keep Scotland in the Union. Historically, the discovery of that actually sort of saved the country's arse, with a bit of a sort of ironic twist during the 1970s. So you go back to when James Callaghan was the Prime Minister, you're talking about the Winter of Discontent, which is often cited as a low point in society in recent UK history, although we've seen worse since then, of course, under the Tories. And at that time there was, you know, rubbish piling up in the streets in London. We had to go cap in hand to the IMF, to the International Monetary Fund, to try and dig our way out of the problem. But fortunately, around the same time, we just happened to discover an absolute shitload of oil just off the coast of North Scotland. But from a series of cock-ups, Callaghan still managed to make a pig's ear of it, which opened the door for Thatcher. And despite producing large amounts of renewable energy now in 2025, in the modern era, I nearly said 2024 then, they still pay the highest energy rates in Europe, which is ridiculous. A country that's got obviously massive amounts of potential for wind energy. Scotland's windy as balls. Even more so than here in the northwest, and of course they've got those massive aforementioned reserves So it's only England, you know, that's holding Scotland back, that they're at the behest of Westminster. They do have gas as well, but mostly oil. Regular viewers will of course know that I'm a supporter of Just Stop Oil. And there are campaigns that they should put a halt to developments like Rosebank, even though because of campaigns from Just Stop Oil and others, fortunately all of the opposition parties agreed to cancel the new licences. However, Starmer's allowing projects like Rosebank and Eleanor to go ahead, even though they won't come online for decades. They're not going to be any solution to the problems that we have here in 2025. It's also counterintuitive to say that you're going to make a massive move to renewables whilst at the same time greenlighting fossil fuel projects that aren't going to be active until the 2040s. And a quick reminder, we've also got a decade's worth of reserves where that's concerned. Yeah, that's right, Afterglow. The oil is Scottish and the gas is shared. Okay, people. I'm going to be leaving you in a short moment. Please do hang around though. Do want to give another massive thank you to all of the members. Thanks, people, those of you who've gifted memberships on tonight's live stream. I will add the new members, of course, to this roster, to this list of people in Solidari-Tea, the old brew crew. Thank you very much once again for your support on the channel, each and every one of you. Thank you very much. And do stay poised in your seats. I'll see if we can redirect into another live stream, though it's a little late in the hour. Okay. Oh, we've got a choice. We've got a choice. Kev Logan's on, as well as all shorts. Well, I will let the people decide. Give us a very quick shout out in the chat who you'd like to be redirected into, and I will make it so. Let's do it the I've not got time to set up a poll, but just very quickly. Speak now. And I'll get that set up. But I'll try and join you over for a quick moment wherever we get redirected to. Okay, all shorts it is. Oh, and we've got a show for... Right, I'm gonna flip a bloody coin. That's what I'm gonna do. Right. We've got two votes. One either or. Got a positive abstain either from Mobius. Right, I'm gonna flip for it. I'm gonna flip for it. Heads it's Kev, tails it's all shorts. It's tails, it's all shorts. Do recommend, of course, Kevin Logan. Also do check out his content if you're not familiar. So that did actually match the vote as well. The sort of vote. Right, that's all set up, good to go. So yeah, I will join you over there at All Shorts very briefly before I'll have to get off. But it's been great catching up with everybody. Here's to the next 12 months in 2025. Lots of streams and content to come, of course. So if I don't see you over at All Shorts, take care, everybody. My Lefty, I'll be seeing you soon. Good evening.